Oh my goodness. Well, that's a good start. Yep. Yep. Hi. Hi, it's me. It's Sarah. Over here on the YouTube, week 2, or maybe this was week 3. I don't know. It's my old home now. I've been spending the week, well, eating and sleeping and walking the dog, but I've learned a lot more about how to use YouTube. So hopefully, hi Anna. Hopefully things will go smoothly. First of all, my hands are so dry that I'm trying to keep them from cracking, except that it's too late. Made it almost through a whole Michigan winter without my hands cracking open. So that's a thing. I was pretty excited about that. And then, nope. So hi, Diane. Nice to see you. Let's see. So I have a game plan today. And obviously my invitation worked. I sent it a different way to my patrons. So, and you're here. So yay. Phew. Because trying new things, learning how to do things more efficiently. I have a list. I also have knitting to do. Hey, so I thought of this question. I have knitting to do, but it's a purl row. So at what point is it knitting and at what point is it not knitting? You know what I mean? Like I'm knitting, but it's not knitting. So there's your deep and profound thought for today, your question. I did a funny thing. Well, I didn't do a funny thing. Well, so Diane's asking what I've been learning or using to learn more about YouTube. So it turns out as you start using YouTube, it says, oh, you can't do that. You have to do this. Or did you know that you can do this? So mostly, like I looked at the, like we do on Facebook once in a while, you go and change your settings, your security or whatever. So I went in. So first of all, I discovered there's something called YouTube Studio, which is where I am right now. And maybe I was there before accidentally. I don't know. So I'm using YouTube Studio, which is more of the place to be filmed, I guess. I don't know. And and I could set up the live and I could get a link and I could say, here's a link. That's when I'm going live. I also can keep things at different levels of privacy. So I'm planning on having the live format for my patrons. Patreon, there will be a link in the show notes. Also, I can do show notes, and then there's a thing I can change it after like a day and flip it to public. And if you're a subscriber, you'll get a notification when it goes public. And if you're not, it's just there for you to find at some point. So, but I'm aiming for, and I'm also working on my backlog of Facebook lives, which are now videos. So I'm in the process of moving them over to YouTube, and they're all private because you have like secret places you can put things. And then I'm rewatching them starting from the beginning, which was like a year and a quarter ago. And so that I can write down links for things that I talk about. But it's pretty eye-opening because I sound exactly like the lighting, the background changes and the hair changes. But I sound like I'm talking about the same crap that doesn't mean anything except to me and those of you who choose to listen. I learned I spend way too much time talking. I'm only on the 3rd or 4th one, but I spend way too much time talking about my classes because most of you have already taken them so far. So I'm going to keep those on the what I thought I'd do is when I put up a new class, I'll put up a little video just for that class and I can talk about the class. I think that's a brilliant idea now that I know how to do this. But yeah, I'm talking about the same damn things and that's okay. So, and then the first time I tried to go live, YouTube is like, oh, hey, you can't go live until we tell you that you can go live. And so we'll send you a code to your phone and then you have to wait 24 hours. So you can't just go live. You have to do a thing and then wait 24 hours. And then I was so excited when I figured out how to do it that I set it up on my personal channel, which I didn't even know I had. And I thought I was putting it on my Sarah Peasley Handknitter channel, and I wasn't. So then I had to move the first week or two over to here. And then I went to go live on the new Sarah Peasley Handknitter channel, and it said, oh, no, you can't do that. You have to have me send you a code, and then 24 hours later you can go live. I'm like, God damn it, I knew that already. So that's where we are. So now I have, and then I got rid, so I moved stuff over from the old channel to the new channel, and then the lives became recordings, and oh my gosh. So to answer your question, Diane, I have no idea. I'm just like doing things, and they either work or they don't. And then the next time I do them, hopefully I do them more efficiently. But I like it already better than Facebook for reasons. One of which is your comments are over here instead of on down low where I can't see them. So I can actually see when you say something to me, which is nice. Yeah. So I don't know. I was talking about something. But it's been really kind of fun to watch the old ones. And sometimes I realize I'm only into 3 or 4 of them. 50. I had 50. I don't know how I got that many. And I just kind of, sometimes I just watch and like I'm knitting. Oh, I should be knitting now. So I'm knitting, I'm purling the shawl. I got it back up and running. So I'm on the 4th row of that 8-row repeat, and then I'll weigh the yarn and see if I can do another repeat. So that's exciting. Except I can't see it. So I'm on the purl row while I'm talking to you because I can purl. I don't have to really pay attention, except I do because there's yarn overs and markers, but it'll be fine. Yep. I don't know. There was a sentence going on there. I don't know what it is. Watching the old ones. Oh, and I like get kind of wrapped up in what I'm talking about. And like I'm listening to myself and going, oh, that's really cool. And then I realize I forgot to write things down. And so anyway, I'm trying to put links. So like if I talk about a yarn that I used to make a thing and you watch it like 6 years from now, you can say, oh, she made that thing with that yarn and I can go buy it here or whatever, not buy it, but oh, that's what that yarn is. People always say like, what yarn did you use? What size needle did you use? How long did that take you to make? And you're like, I don't know. You can maybe come up with a yarn, but that's about it. And I theoretically have written everything down, which leads me, so that I could find things out, which leads me to the part where, well, I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit. What we're going to do today is go through another pile of things. Like a month ago, we went through all my unfinished projects, which sadly were the same unfinished projects from when we did that. We did that a year ago in November of 20. I don't know when, because I didn't get there yet in my YouTubing or in my watching the old Facebook. So, but we're going to do another pile and make another list and then have another poll and make some decisions. And then I'm going to move ahead because that's what I want to do. And I need help. I'm not going anywhere. So things to talk about before that. I had this brilliant idea to sort my clothes by color. And if you know me, think about that for a sec. It took like 3 seconds. I thought, oh, I could do a time-lapse video of me sorting all my clothes by color. And like I moved 2 hangers and it was done because everything I wear is black. So I had like a couple blue shirts. I had kind of a red shirt, although it's almost sleeveless. So I'm not really wearing it right now, but I have all my clothes in my closet because I don't put them away for the season. I don't have that many. Having said that, I don't know where half of my t-shirts are, but and I'm like, oh man, that didn't take very long. So I'm glad I wasn't trying to film it as a time lapse because it wouldn't even have registered. And then I put my scarves in order by color, and most of those are purple, various shades of purple. So that at least was a little bit different. But I'm like, I don't have any colorful clothes. Like this is about as colorful as I get. So that was interesting. And now I'm thinking like earrings. I'll sort obviously I have something I'm supposed to be doing, and that's why I'm sorting all my things that I don't need to sort, like my clothes and my earrings. I do have a pair of red earrings. I have like 0 yellow anything. That's not a surprise. Little bit of pale green, like chartreusey green. Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny that I sorted my clothes by color by moving like 2 hangers. So I just thought I'd tell you that, share the hilarity. Let's see. Oh, I really don't have a lot to tell you. I did that. So I signed up in my quest to learn new things. I signed up for another class. Stitches in April. I don't know which format it is. Is it 2 weekends? Is it 1 weekend? I have lost track. I'm not teaching because I dropped the ball on proposing for April, but I'm taking a class from Deborah Jarko on make a bag while learning to use your rigid heddle loom. I have a rigid heddle loom. I took a beginning class when my friend Nancy owned Woven Art, which was, Meg's owned it for a really long time. I can never remember. And I took it twice from Nancy. The first time I actually made 3 scarves off of the warp that I had put on. And my sisters and I each have one of those scarves. So I got mine out to show you. I thought of you. And guess what? It's purple. And the warp was a cotton that Nancy had hand dyed. So here's what the warp looked like. It's purple. And then the weft was, so it was like some cotton from Henry's attic that she had dyed because she was a dyer. She is a dyer. And then excuse you, Miss Sam. And then the weft, something purple. Oh, that's something else. Has some silk in it. A little bit slubby. I don't know. I have it written down somewhere. I can't imagine what it was. But so my sisters, I don't know what theirs looked like either. They were all slightly different. So this is mine. I wove this myself. And I just told somebody the other day that I did not, I'd never twisted fringe, and I didn't know how to do it. But apparently I lied because this has got twisted fringe on it, which I'm pretty sure I did by hand. Did I sew the things? I didn't. You're supposed to sew the things like a there's a name for it, and I didn't do it. Anyway, it's a scarf, and it's pretty, and it's purple, and I wove it myself. So then it had been a couple years, and I didn't remember how to use the loom, and Nancy still owned Woven Art, and she offered it. Well, she had been offering it all along, and I took it again with my friend Erica and her mom, and they probably got stuff done. I did get my rigid heddle loom warped, which is the, strung like a guitar, but it's different. I don't know how many sessions it was, 2 maybe, with like a break in between to actually do the weaving. And I remember after I'd started weaving, and then I took it home, and like I didn't like the edges, so I unwove however much I had done in class. I don't know that I ever went to the second class, or maybe that was the second class. And it's I have a warped loom in my basement from however many years ago that was, before Meg even bought Woven Art. So I found it yesterday. I knew where it was, but I went and got it out Saturday and put it at the bottom of the stairs to bring up. I had other things to bring up too, and that wasn't my priority. But it's really dusty, and it's got the warp on it from however many years ago. And I'm like, I'm just gonna, what do you do? Cut it off? Can I preserve it? I don't know. So I'll probably stare at it, and then in the class, Deborah will talk us through warping and making a tote bag. Does it have a flap? I don't remember. Out of sock yarn. So that's awesome, because I actually have some sock yarn, just a little bit. So I'm excited about that, because it's not really it is learning a new thing, because I don't remember anything, but I also work in a store that sells stuff for weaving. So now I'll have a little more knowledge, or my knowledge will be refreshed. It'll be more something that I can actually remember and tell people. So I'm going to cross that off my list that I told you about that. I'm excited. I like taking classes. I did finish the thing in the one class, the basket class from the clothesline wrapped in fabric. That was done. I have not finished or even done anything after the class. The rug hooking with the crochet hook. Well, it's not really a crochet hook, but it's not a punch thing. It's more like a crochet hook. So rug hooking, haven't finished that. Haven't finished my black work, although I did my black work pen holder, although I did work on it quite a bit after the class. And then, my the sewing, I did draft a pattern with Cal Patch, and then I've been sewing my thing. It's inside out right now. So you're looking at the seam binding that I made by hand. Thank you very much. And it needs it. So the seam binding needs to be sewn down, but I forget how she told us to do that. So I'm going to look at my notes and see what she recommended. And I have the sleeves are in. This is inside out again. I need to finish. So that's basted. I need to finish that seam. Hi, Fran. I need to finish that seam and then finish that seam. And I need to finish. So I need to finish where I sewed the sleeves into the body, but they're in, and it's just the finishing of the seam. Then and then the side and sleeve seams are done, but I need to finish those seams. Clara says, just wear the damn thing. It's put together. Same on this side. This one was done a different way. And did I mention hand sewing? It's hand sewing. I'm having fun. This was the one. This was the flat felled. This is the flat felled seam that's faux flat felled. So I need to, and anyway, I need to finish that and do it on here. And like, that's a tricky bit. And over here, there's only two sides. I'm showing you the third one. This was a self-enclosed seam. You roll it over, one over the other, you trim it down, and everything's getting messy at the underarm. But that's okay. It's lying nicely. And then I need to do the end of the sleeves and the hem. And I think that's it. And then maybe iron it. And I've tried it on, although I tried it on over a shirt like this, so it kind of stuck to me, but it fits. The neck is a little what? Well, let's see what it is because it's right here. Yeah, it's just a little bit wider than what I've got on now and a little bit deeper. But it looked really nice. So it doesn't really look like this. This is the inside. Well, I mean, me too. So Fran says she's all about learning new things, but different seams on the same garment would push me over the edge. I like matchy-matchy. I do too. But it's a class on learning the different seams. It's kind of like my finishing class where we use different techniques on the shoulders and put one sleeve from the top down and one from the bottom up. Different borders on. And so, and when I realized that, I'm like, oh yeah, it's just like my class. So I definitely prefer the French seam to anything, and the faux French seam to the self-enclosed seam. And I'm doing okay with, there's back stitch, there's whip stitch, there's slip stitch. Definitely some things work better than others. And definitely I wouldn't do some of the things that she had us do because I like other things better. But when I put it on, and again, this is inside out, I don't want it to be much shorter, and it's supposed to have like all this hem allowance. So I'm going to do the binding. Is it called seam binding? Bias tape. That's what it's called. I'm going to do the bias tape on the sleeves and the hem to keep them as long as they can be. So I'll only lose like a 1/4 inch. Okay. So that's progressing. It's this beautiful blue linen with, crap on it and thread because I'm in the middle of some of the seams. And so the piece of bias tape I put around the neck, I had cut fabric on the 45-degree angle, and I had one long enough that it went all the way around the neck, so I didn't have to piece anything together. But then all my other pieces, like probably for the arm sleeve hems, I'll be fine. But for the one around the bottom, I was definitely going to have to piece some. So the other night while I was watching, I don't know, something, probably Sarah Peasley Handknitter Facebook Live videos, I started piecing my handmade. Look how good that is. It's all straight. You can't even tell. I didn't match the pattern, but holy crap, I don't even know where it is. It's right there. I started piecing a bunch together and I like, what's wrong with me? I like it. What happened was what happened was when I went to cut the oops, sorry, I wiggled everything. When I went to cut the fabric at the 45-degree angle to make, and I have the doohickey that you feed it into and iron it, and it comes out as perfect seam binding, but not if you mess up, not if it's not all there. It doesn't fold correctly, by the way, if you cut it weirdly. I'll get it. When I went to cut out all of the fabric, I cut out, like, I had a piece of, fabric. I cut the whole thing in the strips. And then I only needed one strip for the neck. And I was like, oh, I cut all my fabric. So I like this. And it's very stretchy because it's probably really cheap cotton from, somewhere. So it makes good bias tape. So I'll just keep using it. I haven't done the pressing in of the side edges yet because I did this in my living room. I'm out upstairs. You can tell because there's stairs there. I did this in my living room, which is down there, and my iron is in the basement, which is another floor down. So, I could bring the iron up. Or I could take this down. That's a lot of work. You have to remember things. But anyway, now I have all this bias tape, and I probably haven't even sewn half of it together yet. So, and then she mentioned and now it's getting caught in my yarn. You can't see it. Oh, because it just fell off. Okay, it's not getting caught in my yarn. She mentioned that stores will sell like wound up things of fabric bias tape like that. So I can just keep going. No, they don't. I think so. Diane's asking if the seams look, she put a little picture of thread, look the same on the right side, even though I'm using different techniques. They don't. But see, that's okay because it's a learning thing. Let's just turn it right side out and see. And I forget how I'm supposed to do the, and I very much wish that I had used contrasting thread because navy blue thread and navy blue fabric. So right now it's basted. So that's not what it's going to look like. And so most of the seams, look like that on the outside. That's the top. That's right here. So that's the shoulder seam and that. And I haven't pressed anything because I'm a lazy sewer. So it's the side seams. It's not all finished yet, but the side seams. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is the one with the self-enclosed thingy that I don't particularly care for. And it just looks like a seam. That's one side seam. But the seam will be finished, so theoretically the garment will last longer. And on this side, it's the flat felled seam, which means, I don't know, you do stuff. And so it looks like that. So that's the seam, and then that's where it's finished. So like on your blue jeans, that's what those seams look like, where you can see where it's sewn and then it's got like some top stitching. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's called a flat felled seam or a flat fell seam. And I don't even know what that means, but that's what it looks like. So the side seams look different. And I think that's it. And yeah. Well, there it is. One of these days. Oops, that's the back. So I'll, report my progress on that because I did make some progress. And I bought some more patterns and some more fabric. I meant to bring the fabric up. I was going to make another one of these. I found some, remember I said I sorted my clothes and I only moved 3 hangers that weren't black or gray. Yeah, which I don't really have a problem with. But, it's kind of like a challenge. How colorful can Sarah be? So I bought some, I think it's a linen cotton blend and it's yarn dyed, which means It's the same. I don't know if that's what it means, but it's the same on the back as the front as is this. So like I couldn't have a wrong side on the wrong side. If you know what I mean? I couldn't mess up. And it's red. Did I say that? And I was going to make another one of these. So I bought enough to make another one of these. And then I did some late night shopping on their website and I bought another pattern for a different, it's called the Remy Raglan or something by, I don't know. I'm going to go with Sew House 7, but it might not be that. So I'll figure it out and put it in the notes. And trying to figure out what size to make is interesting. Now I have help because I know the people over at Seams, the shop next door to the yarn shop, but we're all a weird size. I've gained weight, a significant amount of weight since I stopped drinking, and I don't care, except that my clothes don't fit. So now, which is part of why I have fewer clothes. So my hips are about the same. My belly is bigger, but not as big as my hips. And then my boobs are bigger. Regardless, my hips are still the biggest, but not by a lot. So when you look at like on a pattern, the waist versus the hips versus the bust, like I'm falling into 3 different sizes, which happens to all of us a lot of the time. It was happening to me before I gained the weight. So I just have to, the point of that, besides the fact that we're all misled to think we have to have hourglass figures, is that there was a point. Let me get back to it. So I bought 2 yards, which is enough to make this. At least I thought it was 2 yards. And the top, the Remy Raglan or whatever it's called, if I make the size that all of me would fit into, so the bigger size, I would need 2 and an eighth or 2 3/8, I think. And I'm like, I don't need the biggest size on all my parts. So, and I maybe don't need as much ease. So I need to like lay out I washed the fabric. Thank you very much. And I need to just lay it out and put the pattern pieces on. And that'll be this one I drafted myself in Cal Patch's class. So I haven't worked from a pattern yet, not in my adulthood or not in my recent adulthood. So that'll be SEW, that'll be interesting. I mean, I cut out this one from a pattern that I drafted onto paper. So like, it's like a pattern. So I don't know, but it was one size. It was my size. So I'll figure it out. You can come along for the journey. That's fine with me. That's what I'm asking you to do. So that's the last class I took that I haven't finished, but I'm working on. I like to do these things at night. And did I mention navy blue with navy blue thread? So that's why the next one. And so the next one is a red, like a maroon burgundy, cotton linen. And then it has like ikat things going on with a lighter color. So blobs of lighter color here and there. And Jessie, I said, I think I want to try contrasting. And she walked over to the wall of thread and brought one over, and it was the exact color of the blobs. So I'm going to use that. So I'll be able to see the damn stitches. It'll be so much easier. And I think I'm going to hand sew that one too, because why not? Meanwhile, I have 3 sewing machines. I did spend time. I was very happy. I spent time in the sewing room, AKA the basement, mostly finding the floor because I just kept throwing things in there, including sewing machines. So I found most of the floor. I still have some things to put away. Mostly I have to find things to put the things that I'm keeping into, like, because I was given sewing things from a friend's mother who'd passed away. And she had a lot of stuff. So I have like elastic that's probably not any good. I'm going to hang on to it and lots of like snaps and hook and eye and Velcro and thread. And a lot of the thread, I mean, the thread is all really old. This is like from 50 years ago, but Kel says that kind of thread is perfect for basting, and I'm doing basting. So I have a lot of thread for basting. So anyway, I sorted everything, but now I have to find things to put it in. And I happen to have like boxes and baskets and things. I just have to empty them from, you have to empty things so you can put more things in them. And I wiped off some of the shelf down there so I could put the fabric. So now I have this stack of the fabric I've been buying, and I can say, oh God, I bought that much fabric. And I have an old stack of clothing type fabric, which I hardly had any. And then I had quilting stuff. And so anyway, I found most of the floor. I sorted things out. So the desks are covered. I have 3 desks in there. Well, 2 desks. And then one of the sewing machines is in a table cabinet. That's what it's called. So that's okay. That's there. But I need to clear off the other 2 desks so I can actually set up and use the sewing machines. So in the meantime, I'm hand sewing, and I actually do like it, except for the navy blue on the navy blue. So the new class will be weaving, and we'll see how far I get. So far, I haven't even I found the loom, and I have sock yarn, but I didn't go get it yet. And then I'm supposed to have like a warping peg that was with the loom. I don't know what I'm supposed to have. I'm going to have to get a couple things, but fortunately, I work in a shop that sells weaving things, so I should be able to find them once I know what they are. I don't know what they are. Yeah, so more little things to buy, and then another skill, which I'm excited about. I'm excited about learning new things, like, how to use the YouTube. So accountability for what I've been working on, besides the sewing, I'm going to put these over here. I'm trying to be careful about where I throw crap so I can find it again. Just to follow up on the poncho, I still have not woven in the ends, but there are now 6 of them because I did. Oh, Fran, were you late to the game? I'm taking at Stitches in April, where I'm not teaching. I'm taking Deborah Jarko's Rigid Huddle Weaving class. You should take it too. And then we can be bad together. So this is this is my new poncho. Do you like it? That's nice. Well, my lighting is weird in here. Okay, so I can probably take these out now. There's one. You're taking it too. All right, we can be bad together. We can like pass notes. All right, so here's my poncho, and it needs to be like arranged there. So there you go. There's my poncho. It fits, but I haven't woven in the 4 ends yet. 6. There's 6 of them. So there you go. I'm almost finished, but I progressed because I sewed the seam, but I don't even know where it is. Hi, Debbie. Thanks. Oh, there it is. There's the seam. So it was a mattress stitch. I think somebody asked me the other day. Woo! It was a mattress stitch, which it was Jen was asking me at the Woven Art Zoom along, because she's doing a lot of brioche designing. This is brioche, and she wanted to know how this was seamed, and it had 2. Yes, there are ends to weave in. It had 2. I didn't even realize Clara was barking. I just don't even hear it anymore. It had 2 blue stitches on either edge. Oh, I can show you because they're like on the other edges. So like 2, one's curled to the back. So you could just mattress stitch. So I just mattress stitched after placing the pins. And I like it. It's warm. It's softer now that it's blocked. And I just have 6 ends to weave in. So now it goes in a different pile, which is over here right now. And oh my God, when I was cleaning out, when I was finding the floor in the basement, we're going to call it the sewing room, even though it's like more than one room, but part of it is sewing. Oh my gosh. I was like, oh yeah, I was going to mend these pajamas, and oh yeah, I was going to mend this. And I made a mending pile, which is now 3 piles because there was a lot of crap to mend. So I was talking to Jessie, who owns Seams next door to Woven Art, about she's going to get more serious about doing live presentations and weekly whatever alongs and things. And we were throwing ideas back and forth. And well, no, we weren't. She knows what she wants to do, but I was helping her with like setup, lighting and cameras and Zoom things and YouTube things. And I told her, you have to go live and find out that you need a code and do that the day before you want to go live, or else you can't go live when you want to go live. So learn from my mistakes. Mending. So I told her I want a thing where I can go, even if it's online, and just sit and I can say I have to mend this, and somebody can say, oh, well, do this or this or this, and then I'll know what to do instead of just looking at it and going, I don't know, toss it. So the poncho moved along. The I do have it here. The Starsky, which I've completely forgotten about because I'm knitting a shawl. How good I'm at the end of a row. I think, let's count. Look at all that. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The green one is 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 20 was my goal. I cannot remember where I told my students to stop knitting. I have to actually physically walk to a mirror while holding this and the bag because it's attached to the yarn, and then see if that's how long I want it to be. I have not yet done that. So that's because I might want to do another repeat or two, but 20 was going to be close. So that is at the point where I have to actually physically walk to a mirror and look in the mirror while holding it up. So that's in a holding zone. Poncho needs ends woven in. Shirt needs to be sewn. I have to iron the shirt needs to have the seam binding made into it's not seam binding, Sarah, it's bias tape, which I think is the exact same thing, but I don't really know. And that leaves, so everything has to be put aside. That leaves the shawl, the Talamina shawl. Isn't it pretty? I am halfway through as I'm purling. So there's 10 stitches between. I don't know what that's doing there. That's just been there. I wonder if I put it at the beginning of a repeat or something. So I'm just going to leave it there for a while. I think that was the end. No, I don't know what that was. I'm going to take it out because I don't know what it was. And then I'll figure it out and I'll be like, man, I wish I hadn't taken that out. We will see. Yep. So I wrote down at the end of, so I had written down at the end of the number of repeats of this little 8-row chart, where okay, so there's a setup chart with 2 repeats, and then there's another chart that's 8 rows tall that you're supposed to repeat 16 times. So that's a total of 18 leaves. There we go. And at that point, I had written down how much yarn I had left. I weighed it because I have this giant ball of lace weight and I want to try to, because that would be the end, and then I'd put on the border, but I would have a crap ton of yarn left because that's a lot of yarn. So I'm trying to use up more yarn, and I wouldn't mind the shawl being bigger so I can smush it all around me. So I had written down how much yarn I had left after the amount of repeats before the border that the pattern called for. And then I meant to write down how much yarn I had left at the end of the next repeat, but I didn't. And I had gone another repeat. So I've written that down, and then I'm halfway through the next repeat. And then I'll weigh it, what's left, and see how much I used for that last repeat. That's the important thing. How much did you use for the last repeat? Because the designer says, and she's my friend, and I edited the pattern, but I have no way of knowing that this is true. She said that you use 2.5 times the yarn for the border that you used for the last repeat. So I need to know how much I used for each repeat, so then I can determine whether that was the last repeat or not. Phew, I think that made sense. So I'm halfway through. I'm on my purl row halfway through, which is weird because I started this last night. So that's only the 4th row, but they're fucking long rows, right? And it's lace weight, and I was doing it at night. And I don't like to have the lights on because, and yes, I have an hot lamp, but not where I generally work. So anyway, actually there's one right here. You see it? Whoop, right? Ugh. Right there. There's an hot lamp. So there you go. Have an hot light. We're not getting to my list, are we? What was I going to say? Oh, so I either have 4.5 more rows because I just went past the, oh no, I didn't. Here's, nope, nope. Here's the halfway point. So purl and then purl the rest of the row, and that's halfway through the chart. And then weigh and see if I can do another, I don't really know. Anyway, I'm going to keep weighing it after each 8-row repeat. And then making the determination, I guess, blindly, whether I have enough to do the border. See, that doesn't tell me whether I have enough to do another repeat, but I think I can sort of extrapolate. So it's like giant yarn chicken. It's not giant yarn chicken. It's just plain old yarn chicken, but with lace weight yarn. Okay, so that's being accountable for all the things that I was working on. Go me. And my list, which has a lot of words on it, but they all say basically the same thing. Or for the thing that's next. So let's move on to that, shall we? Things for later. Here's my new list. Put it over here. So as my, this is really not going to work. As my life has evolved with the whole, sorry. Don't bark. Don't bark. No, it's okay. Well, I forgot to turn this so you can't see the kitty litter thing. Okay. Also notice that the box with the thing from IKEA is still sitting there because I haven't put that together yet. That's okay. As my life has evolved, my life in the fiber industry, I have been teaching classes. And as I've been teaching classes, I've been teaching things that I made up to prove the point that I'm trying to teach. So like I need a scarf and entrelac to show people they can do a scarf and entrelac. So I'd make up a scarf and entrelac. And wouldn't it be nice? So I've been doing that for 20 years, over 20 years. So I have a few things, samples, let's call them, that could be photographed and written up and be patterns and make me money. I mean, I don't think I would be retiring on that money. I might be buying a mocha a month with that money. But right now I have 1, maybe 2 patterns for sale. I don't know, but 1. And I could have more. So I just thought one of the things I can use you guys for, because you're being used, what's that, is to help me, like you help me organize. I don't know if you help me organize, but you kept me company. That's what I'm trying to say. While I went through my projects, my UFOs. Yeah. So Fran, here's the question. It's now 5:42. So normally I'd be wrapping things up. Do I do it now or do I do it next week? It's this laundry basket, and it's also a pile of papers. I need to make the list, and then I need to categorize the list, and then there will be polls to help me decide what pattern to do next. So I'll just sit here, and you want to do it now, and I don't know how long it's going to take, or do you want to do it next week? So I'll just sit here. And by next week, I could find more things probably, because like the sweaters are all over there. So I'll just sit here. Oh, I know. Well, I've wanted to write the patterns for 20 years, but guess how much I get paid to sit here and spend the time writing the patterns? I get paid nothing, and I have bills to pay. So, I had to put my kids through school. I'm not on my knitting money, but like, I know I want to write the patterns, but I always have something else I have to do that's more important. So I want to make this more important. I don't know. I teased you with you have till 6:30. Okay. I mean, it doesn't have to take forever. It could take forever. Well, let's start and see where we get to. Because part of my pile is my class notes, for which there is a sample somewhere. That's another pile I need to organize. So you don't need to go sit here while I go through the Okay. Diane says, do it now. So I won't do those with you. What I'll do is go through what's in this basket, which is not the whole pile, but it's some stuff you have not seen before. So that could be exciting. And then off camera during the week, because I'm not doing anything else, I will go through the paperwork and maybe pull more things out for you to see next week if I have more samples. Because, the idea is I needed to photograph everything, which is where that stopped. And now I've been writing patterns for other people for so long that shouldn't. Plus, it's all written down because it was in classes. Hello. Okay. So, and I have cookies waiting for me, so I will do it quickly. Here are some things that could be patterns. Okay. And I need to write them down with the cat pen. Remember the cat pen? From Constellation Cat Cafe. See, I say that out loud, and then when I watch it later, I will write that in the show notes, and you can send them all your money so they can save all the kittens. So the first thing I'm going to show you isn't my design. So there you go. I'm already screwing up. But it's my friend Abby's, and she said I can write it up. And that is a pair of gloves. Now, I haven't taught this. I wanted to teach it, but I haven't gotten to it yet. It's just a pair of gloves, but they fit perfectly, and they're made with I-cord fingers. So they're super, if you know how to make I-cord, you can have it all done all the way down to there, and then you just have to make a hand. So that's pretty cool. And she told me I'm allowed to write that pattern up. I'm sure I have to like give her money or something, but so there's pattern number one. Not number one, but there's one thing that's called gloves. So that would be under accessories. When I was teaching at Interlochen in the before times, and if I would get off my ass and propose classes I could teach for them now online. So I should do that, right? Yep, and then we lost an hour, so yay. I was teaching beginning knitting up at Interlochen, and Interlochen College of Creative Arts, the adult version of Interlochen. Otherwise, it's an arts camp for a performing arts camp. Is it just for, no, there's painting and stuff, at least for the grown-ups. What is that? Oh, I wove in an end. And it's sticking out. Let's just cut that off. Beginning knitting. So I would start them with this garter stitch, which would turn in, and then they'd pick up and do in the round, and then they do some shaping. And did we do buttonholes, or did we just, yeah, we did buttonholes. They actually open up. So this was the beginning of their, this was part of their learn to knit. And then we would cast on and do some ribbing, knit 2 purl 2 ribbing, and they could knit till they ran out of yarn. So that's the beginning knitting set. It's and here's part of the problem. Like, I waited so long that this yarn isn't sold. Well, I don't know if this is sold anymore. This is Misty Alpaca Chunky or Bulky, which Nancy carried at Woven Art, and well, I think Meg had it for a while, and then we don't have it. We haven't had it for years. So, you know, this is the kind of pattern where it'll say Misty Alpaca Chunky was used for the sample. You'd want to use a chunky alpaca that gets this many stitches to the inch, because I don't know if you can buy that anymore. And then in my quest to get better at crochet, and this was another crochet class I wanted to teach, was shaping. So increases and decreases. And this was a great stash buster, Fran. I know the hat is cute. You get to show some buttons. So this was a stash buster. This was, but it's a matchy stash buster because I'm matchy. So it, you know, radiates out. But that's some kind of crochet. I wrote it down somewhere, and I could write that up as a pattern. And it's pretty, and it used all that yarn, which was probably not enough yarn. You know, I probably still had some of it left over. But that is a pattern. See, I could be a crochet pattern writer. That's exciting. And then this is the same idea, which we would call old shale or feather and fan or ripple stitch in knitting. Yeah, and those were all scrap yarns. This is Mountain Colors yarn in the Ruby River colorway in a bunch of their different, like 7 or 8 of their different bases. And then I just changed it up. Yes. So there's like an alpaca, there's a wool, there's a merino ribbon, there's a lace weight boucle. There's a sock yarn in there, all kinds of stuff. So that's, I mean, you know, but so many people have feather and fan, but I don't. So I could put that up there. I've shown you this before, I think. This is I gave my son's ex-girlfriend, as she's still she's getting married this year. But I still think of her as my ex-future daughter-in-law. I got to keep her when they broke up, is what I'm saying. And I was going to have her knit a sample of this for me, and I sent her the iPad size to keep, I guess, because I'm not going to ask for it back. But and that was all after they broke up. But I called it my executive series, and this was for the iPhone. It won't fit my iPhone anymore because this is 2 iPhones later. Let's see. Nope. I mean, I could probably fit it in there. But these are those welts. I showed you the welts before. Nope, I don't really want to, I'm not going to do it. Too tight. But that was for the phone. But this could be something else. This could be, my mom used to put her cigarettes in a little thing. And then I had an iPad size one, but I have a little bit bigger iPad now. And then this was my laptop, but I have a different laptop now. So, but this could be a pillow. I think it'd be, and then Fran mentioned that it could be a carpet, a little rug, like at the foot of your bed, or not the foot of your bed, because it's very squishy. So, and this was completely scraps, which might be a lie, because between all these fun welts is black, which might have been I think that's really pretty too, but there's no point in doing all of that if you're only going to look at that. So there's the executive series, which could be pillows, it could be bags, it could be cozies for your electronic devices, which was the original. The first time that's what happened. The first time I got an iPad, my first iPad, I was so nervous I was going to drop it and it was going to break. So I wanted to make a cover for it that would not let it break. So this was the answer. And now I don't have that iPad cover anymore. So I'm not writing these down. I only wrote down the gloves. That's okay. I'll write them down later. More stash busters. Are these the same? No. And you know, some of these are back in the day. That's the same. Yeah, some of these I'm not really proud of. So this is another stash buster where you just knit across and cut the yarn and keep knitting. Oh wait, that's what this is. Where did I just put it? That's what this is. This is one yarn. Thick and thin cotton schlubby boucle thing. And then this is another, this is another one with another Mountain Colors merino ribbon. So just the one yarn. And yeah, it's just a garter stitch scarf, but it's self-fringing because you cut, I don't know, I forget. But anyway, you know, it's a garter stitch scarf. And then this one is not garter stitch. It's stockinette and then reverse stockinette. But scraps. So stash buster. And then it has sad fringe. I need to learn how to twist fringe is what I need to do. It has sad, but you can see all that there's different yarns in there. Yep. So stash buster. And then this is another one with some, I don't know, it's some sparkly yarn. I don't know. And then there's I'm just going to toss them back there. And then this is a single yarn, a giant slub of something, but it's just not very exciting. This one's not very exciting. So at some point, some of these are going to be donated. And then we went through our fun fur phase. Yeah, so there's fun fur scarves. We'll just put these back here. Does anybody actually knit with fun fur anymore? Probably. This was my attempt, one of my attempts to use the Crazy Mittens from Stonehenge Fiber Mill. So this is pretty sure this is one skein, and it's a basket weave. Is it a basket weave? No. Well, kind of. I did something kind of basket weavy somewhere. It's written down somewhere. Because sometimes there's this plain, it goes this way. It's reversible. Sometimes there's plain stuff in there. Or maybe there's always plain stuff in there. Oh. Okay, so it's basket weave. But I haven't seen these things for a long time. It's basket weave, but it has a little bit of stockinette. And then after the next set of squares, it has reverse stockinette. So it kind of accordion folds. It can kind of accordion fold. See? And I just made it out of a crazy millind. So that was fun. And then, just in case they ever stopped having milliends, which they haven't, except now they can't sell them to stores because people are weird. I did it out of a linen. I don't know. It's from, I don't remember what, we don't carry this anymore. It was, I don't know, some linen. And then this was a bigger yarn, same pattern. And before you block it, it does like an accordion pleat thing. So just a way to use up little bits of yarn. So there's that. I'm not writing anything down. That was the whole point. And I have these. Now I gave 2 to my neighbor because she walks my dog every week when I'm at Woven Art. But I had 4 of the 3. I had 4 of these. I had 4 of these, and they're made out of, 4 different weights of yarn. And the idea was, it was a study in gauge. So the idea was to make them all the same size. This one's a little bit bigger, so it didn't really work. But make them all the same size out of different weights of yarn. So you had to pay attention to the gauge and make it match. It was part of a class. And I had 4. I had all this stuff sitting on my dining room table for, I don't know, half a year during COVID at least. And she said, "Oh, those little bags are so cute." I said, take them home. Like, what am I going to do with them? Oh, here's another garter stitch scarf. And then is this fun? Is this exciting? I mean, yeah. I taught a series of beginning knitting classes at, when I first started knitting. No. When I first started teaching, I had a series of beginning knitting classes. One was scarves and one was hats and one was mittens. Yep. And I taught them at the local library and I taught them for the yarn shops. And so and some of them are sets and some aren't, but there's some garter stitch scarves that you want to use a pretty yarn for. So this is some of that recycled sari stuff from way back. Isn't that pretty? That part's pretty. Some of them are a little less pretty, but there's that. And here's one out of, I think this was just some weird yarn I had. It's like weighs nothing and it's a boucle-ish thing. So this is garter stitch, but you can barely tell. It's all stretched out. And I think I had enough to make 3 of them and I gave them to I made 3 and gave 1 to each of my 2 sisters and kept 1 for me. So they're like sister scarves. Sometimes we do sister things. And then this one is out of a cool ribbony yarn. I think, is this the one I found a hole? It's very springy. So it's like a knitted cord, a knitted ribbony yarn. But I want to say I found a hole in this one. Maybe it was my other navy blue skirt. Oh, I found a hole in this one. So that's going to have to, yeah, because it was a merino. Oh, there's another one. You can't see it. It's right there. So this one didn't make it through the moth debacle of 2000 whatever. You guys asleep yet? These are all the easy things. And so my scarf class had seed stitch, so seed stitch and pretty yarns, alpaca, and then this was a Monos yarn, Monos del Uruguay. I wanted to show that it could be a manly scarf too. So I did a plain seed stitch, and let's see what else I have. A lot of these are in multiples, so they'll go faster. All right. My dental hygienist, who I went to for a million years until she retired, so now I can't go to her anymore. She skis, and she wanted she showed me a purchased ski hood thingy that she wore under her helmet. And she wanted me to make, okay, I didn't plan on putting that on. Oh, that's cute. We'll leave that on. She wanted me to make a thing to wear under her helmet that she could wear tight against her chest. So this is Eve's hooded scarf, and it may or may not be free on Ravelry right now. But I can write it up fancier and actually put a dollar amount on it. So if it's there, here's another one out of another yarn. If it's there, get it now. My friend Jessica, after she had her first son of 2, not that she knew she was going to have 2, she had a hat from Baby Gap that she really liked, and she was already a knitter, and she said, can you make a pattern for this so I can make more as he grows up? And I said, sure. No, it's not repair time, Diane. I don't have any more of that yarn. Yeah, no, not that scarf. I might, I can probably take a photo of it creatively, and then maybe take it apart and see if I can salvage some of it. But yeah. So I copied the hat, which is this. I'm not positive I don't remember if there was a stripe in it or not, but it has short rows so that when the baby puts it on, or more likely the mom or the dad or whoever puts it on the baby, their ears are kept warm. So there's short rows. This is straight, so you can see that the short rows are bumping it up a little bit. And that has a little, I love little I-cord things on the tops of hats. So this is Cameron's cap, because Cameron was her son. And she was just in the shop with him. He's a knitter, and he's like 20 something now. So that's how long these have been sitting around. And then I made a girl version, which isn't true, but it's pink. I was trying to show that, girls and boys can partake. So that's Cameron's cap. That's probably on the website as well. Maybe I pulled it. My then father-in-law had a knee replacement or 2. And then apparently when your knees are metal and you live in Michigan, your knees get super cold. So he asked me if I could make some kind of a knee warmer for him. And I was like, sure. I mean, and I looked online, and there was a Victorian, I think it was called a Victorian knee warmer from back in the day. And it was an old pattern. It was free online. And I took that and I tweaked it, and I put it out as a free pattern. And it's definitely still out there because somebody just emailed me a question about it. And it's a knee warmer. You put it on your knee, and it's, got bendy bits, more short rows. These are like a basket weave short row. I don't know if you can tell, because I wanted to keep the 2x2 going. In the picture on the pattern with this knee warmer, there's a beautiful leg modeling, and it's my son. I said, nobody will see you. And then I made it out of another color too, or maybe I have 2 sizes. I think I have 2 sizes. So that's the knee warmer. A billion people have downloaded that and made it. It's a free pattern because it came from a free pattern, which isn't out there anymore. What are these? Oh, I wanted to teach Continental Knitting, and I used, okay, so, I live in East Lansing, and Michigan State is here. So this was what I used to teach Continental Knitting. It starts with just knitting, and then you add purling and make ribbing, and then you make garter stitch. And then there's a little bit of, I guess we would call it Fair Isle. And then you keep going and make a hat. And these are just crocheted just crocheted and not blocked. And, if you've ever crocheted the first row or 2, it's all curly. And I seem to have made a lot of those. That's knots and pearls. Knots and Spirals. That's a Knots and Spirals hat. Okay, that's where that went. My Mittens class. These have a hole in them because I wore them a lot. I mean, where'd the hole just go? I swear there was just a hole. They wore out so much, and I had some of the yarn and I reknit them, and they're just plain mittens, but they were from my mitten class. But they're very well loved. My mittens. I don't know what yarn. These were some mitts that I made for my beloved and now retired mail carrier, Holly. Every Christmas, so I had a different dog then. My only other dog I ever had, Keiko, was a Shiba Inu, and Holly always left mail for Keiko. There'd always be a treat in the mailbox for Keiko. So she got Christmas presents, and she got, I don't even remember, a scarf and I think a hat and these made out of this yarn, which was an alpaca. So we have mitts that are ribbed. I didn't have a whole lot in the mitten department. There's more mittens coming up, but these don't have anything to go with them currently. I did a couple hats with just some visual interest, some garter ridges, and it has a turned hem, so you can learn how to do a turned hem. And then I did this is different. I don't know what that is, but it's knitted. And then here's the same one with I used some scraps. This is all one yarn. And then my favorite I-cord knot on top. Some hats, stash busters. And then this is some more of the Misty Alpaca Chunky. Super soft, and it's a very simple lace pattern. So this was like an introduction to lace. And it has a hat. But I don't know where it is. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. It's folded right there because I had to put a different hat up there. Okay, so it's lace. There's a hat. And then I also have mitts, which have 0 thumb openings because you can just stick your thumb through wherever you feel like it. And then you have your mitts. So that's a set. I don't remember if it had a name. Very soft. Oh, this is the lovely set that I thought I would wash when I was drunk one time. And when I woke up, there were little knots of felted alpaca things in my washing machine. So that won't happen again. Some more mitts. This was some ginormous yarn. So again, we're looking at different weights of yarn. And then a ribbed hat. And I had no idea. So I made a crazy, I just unplied it and made a crazy hat. I didn't have enough I think that's all the yarn I had. I didn't have enough to make a scarf for those. Whoops. Oh. Ribbed scarf. Something's happening outside. I guess that's just a ribbed scarf. Did I show you mitts in that yarn? Maybe I showed you mitts in that yarn. I thought there was something. Okay, plain old mittens out of some novelty yarn and a hat, a very large hat, just stockinette stitch, rolled edge. There's my I-cord knot. And I don't remember if there was a scarf or not, but there currently is not. Okay, hat, ribbing. This is Peace Fleece. Do you remember Peace Fleece? It still exists. And a scarf and some mitts. So there's the whole shebang right there. And these are supposed to be simple to teach people like how to make the shapes with the different kinds of yarn. I have a hat with stripes. So you learn, whoops, let's have that be the right side. The front side. Oh. So we learned, it's after 6. It's her, not bedtime. It's dinner time. Even with the time change, she knows that it's still 6 o'clock. And mittens to go with it. And I had 2 mittens at one time in my life, but now I only have one. So I don't know where the other mitten is. So hats and mittens. I used to golf. We're almost done. I used to golf, and I made. Did I make these for somebody? I guess me. And then these were a free pattern. They may still be out there too. This one's seen better days. I-cord knot. It's ribbed, and then it's a spiral rib. There's no shaping, just changes. And so the spiral rib expands to fit your giant. Yeah, she's sorry. I don't even hear her. I mean, I do, obviously, but covered with animal hair. It's been in this laundry basket. But so this was I don't golf anymore. There's woods. Okay, the driver. This was the driver. Is there a 1 wood? Because that would be that. And then a 3 wood and a 5 wood. And they had the different numbers of I-cord knots on them based on what the club was. And then this was the driver because it doesn't have any knots on it. And I actually I had a person also named Diane who used to have me make these, and then she'd give them as gifts, and I was charging money and it wasn't enough. But so there you go. I think these are free online, or used to be. They at least used to be. And then I also have a matching putter cover. Just go ahead and put the comments in. I know they're coming. Matching putter covers. And then this was I don't know where this came from, but this was a weird, I had some, what do you call that? An offset putter. I don't golf anymore. So this was like a little thing to fit my offset putter. So these used to all be on my website. Or not my website. Well, they were, but now they're on Ravelry. That's what I'm talking about. And then the last thing I have are a series of baby blankets. It's not the last thing I have. It's the last thing that's in this doohickey mabob. And then I have all the things that, if you've ever taken classes from me, you know that I have samples, right? So most of those are mine, my designs. So this is knit with Jojo Land Tonic. And so this is an exercise in shaping. And so a square with stripes, okay, and garter stitch, and then a circle with stripes and stockinette stitch, right? And then the same things with, except that's all garter stitch, so I don't know what's going on, but another one in a different weight. This was I don't know, some acrylic yarn. So those are photographed. And it was just a lesson on how to make things, how many decreases to put in to make things round, I don't know, or square. So like that's probably not even half of what I have. So I'll go through those quietly by myself and write them on my list. So far it just says Abby's gloves. And then I'll go through my pile of papers that say things like Introduction to Aran Knitting, for which there is an Aran bag, probably right over there. And I'll I feed her twice a day. I will categorize them, and then I'll send you some polls that say like, what should I do first? What should I write first? There's sweaters, from my classes. There's my blanket, my granny stripe blanket. Stuff I can write and put on Ravelry and see if anybody else wants to make them. And then I can buy a mocha. All right. So that went an hour and 14 minutes and probably was not as exciting as you thought it was going to be there at the end. But I want to move forward with that. And so I'm going to have you, thank you for keeping me company. And I'll have some decisions for you to help me with as I make my list. And that's it. Holy crap. Should have waited till next week. I'm going to go feed the dog. She might like to be fed. And I will see you guys next week. Okay? Yep, I'll be here then. Bye.